अच्छा, can you guys listen to me? कर, कर दिए मैंने। इनकी चैट खोल दें, चैट ओपन कर। यहाँ से I'm signed in now. I'm Dr. Faisal. You can see me. Masks have. Thank you very much, Adnan. So, I'm sorry for the delay. The problem is I came very well in time. Talat Saab is not well. He started having some throat pain last night, and to be careful, he did not come. He asked me to deputize in his place. So I hope this lecture is. I came here in time, but they, because I didn't have the sign-in permission, they had to create new sign-in for me. Today we will talk about bone tumors. You've already discussed this with Dr. Talat. I'll try to go over the lecture again with you, and I'll try to give you some understanding of the important fine points. That's what is required from you. Nobody requires a lot of detail and a lot of deep understanding of the bone tumors. Bone tumors are very rare. Bone tumors are not at all for the undergraduates. They are for the specialists and especially for the orthopedic people. They're very difficult to understand. But what we desire from you is that you should be able to approach a case of bone tumors, and you should be able to make a certain inquiry into the case. And then, if appropriate or if required, seek a specialist help. That's what is required from an undergraduate. The curriculum desires a lot because of the COVID environment. Probably that kind of formal education will not be possible for some time, but we will try to make up for whatever we are losing. So, shall we start? Bone tumors are very rare. Any swelling in the any part of the body originating from the bone, involving the bone, or sometimes even invading the bone. That's a bone tumor. So not all bone tumors will make bone. They will not be from the bony tissue. They may be from the soft tissues. They may be from the hematopoietic tissue like lymphoma or leukemia also. But today we will concentrate on the primary bone tumors. Reasons, like all cancers, we don't know much of the specific reasons. But like all cancers, the inherited genetic mutations, radiations, trauma, past diseases, some pro or pre-malignant conditions like Paget's or a high turnover condition, they may convert, or a giant cell tumor is generally considered to be a benign tumor. It may become aggressive and may become malignant. These are one of those things when you see them, you keep in mind that um, they may become malignant. And like all classifications, when you see the bone tumor, they are benign, they can be malignant, they can be tumor-like conditions, or they may be soft tissue tumors. We'll go over one by one over them. And benign are generally slow growing, very symptomless, no pain generally, skin over mass in normal region. There are no metastases. The radiographic reaction is slow. Lab findings are absent. In a malignant tumor, the tumor grows rapidly. The body weight reduces rapidly. There's severe pain. There's higher local temperature. There's venous enlargement. Metastases are there. There's reaction of the bone to such an invasive activity. Anemia, alkaline phosphatase increase may be seen. So, a few words of explanation at this stage. A malignant or a anaplast or tumor activity is happening in the bone. The bone is not at all a dead tissue. It's a very active tissue, and it reacts. So when you see a lesion, I will show you some x-rays today. We will try to explain to you. When you see a tumor, those lesion in the bone, the lesion has a reaction. Either it makes bone or it takes away the bone, or it sometimes affects the surroundings. You have to look at the bone, the lesion and the bone, the lesion and the surrounding, lesion and the surrounding. There are 2-3 questions that you must ask yourself when you see the x-rays. I'm talking about the x-rays. What is the tumor doing? Is it eating the bone, taking away the bone, or is it making the bone? And the second question is, how is the localized bone reacting? If the bone has time and it can react, it may form bone around the bone loss. There may be a small sclerosis or whiteness or thickness around the tumor area. That means it's a slow growing tumor. There is a lot of time for the bone to react. Second, it may not react. The tumor may be so aggressive, it may be eating away the healthy bone, invading the healthy bone. The bone has no time to react. The edges are just like they have been eaten away, moth eaten. This is a very bad sign because now the tumor seems to be more aggressive than the bone. Bone is generally a lethargic, slow to react tissue. But anyway, it has its own personality. If the invading tumor is fast and eating away, the bone may not mount a reaction. So whenever all your life you see a bone lesion, please see the lesion, see the surrounding bone. How do they react? So far, so good, I hope. They can be primary tumor, they can be secondary tumor. Secondary tumors are metastatic, coming from other areas. Primary will originate from the bone or the soft tissues in the bone. Now, the bone has some essential components, like it may have some cartilage around it in some areas. Those benign tumors will be osteochondroma or a chondroma. And if you see the intermediate variety, which are probably not malignant, they may be locally invasive, and some of them may not make metastasis. Some of them make metastasis. The malignant will be bone tumor originating from cartilages, chondrosarcoma. Bone tumor originating from the bone purely. Benign is osteoma, the osteoid osteoma, the benign osteoblastoma, osteosarcoma, malignant osteoblastoma. And there is a host of terms. Kindly take a piece of pencil and paper. I always teach my classes, I always tell them what to read. Do not kill yourself trying to read all these tumors. Please, please, please. There are 3-4 tumors you must understand. The osteochondroma, it's a benign tumor. Osteoid osteoma. These two are good examples of benign tumors, and they will give you some understanding how the benign tumor will behave. And out of the malignant, there are 2 tumors you must understand, that is the osteosarcoma and the Ewing sarcoma. And the third variety that you must understand in between is the giant cell tumor. Osteochondroma, osteosteoma, osteosarcoma, and Ewing tumor. Adnan, can you please confirm that I've reached across and everybody has some understanding what I'm trying to tell you? There is one last tumor that what we must understand is the malignant the metastatic tumors. The metastatic tumors come from other places. The commonest bone tumor, malignant bone tumor, probably is the metastatic tumor. The primary malignant bone tumors are very, very, very rare. Most of them are benign, and you will see them frequently. Now the incidence, as you see, you have to understand that the age of the patient is very important. Age of the patient is very important because malignant tumors occur in various age groups. When you see a swelling around the knee and the patient is 10 years old, the tumor probably may be an osteosarcoma or a Ewing sarcoma. If the patient is 20 to 30, the osteosarcoma still remains the first one, but as he gets old age, it may become a chondrosarcoma. As a primary time, it doesn't convert to chondrosarcoma, but the likelihood of osteosarcoma decreases. The chances of getting a chondrosarcoma increase at 50. In very old age, METS is the first tumor that you think of. Males generally have a more chance of getting a bone tumor. Now, there are areas in the bone where the bone tumor may affect. The epiphysis, there are giant cell tumor, chondroblastoma, aneurysmal bone cyst, something like this, osteoblastoma. Metaphysis is the commonest area where because these are the growing areas of the bone. Osteoma, osteosarcoma, aneurysmal bone cyst, they all occur in the metaphyseal areas. Diaphysis, osteoblastoma, Ewing, osteoblastoma, and secondaries. Flat bones, chondrosarcoma, fibrosarcoma. Symptom, most of the bone tumor will present with malignant with pain, benign with mass. Some of them will come as pathological fractures, some will come as incidental finding. Very, very rarely there will be constitutional symptoms like anorexia, weight loss, and in some of them, some feverish feeling. But generally, they are silent killers, and they are. Now, a few word of caution before I go on to go. Kindly, you must understand there is a big difference between carcinomata and the sarcomata. Bone tumors are mostly sarcomata. They are not carcinomata. So their pattern of spread, their behavior is a little different from carcinomata. They are generally radio resistant, generally respond to multi-drug chemotherapy. Lymph nodes are not involved, not invaded, and very important for a surgeon. If you open a bone tumor in the field of surgery, the whole surgic area field may be implanted with bone cell, with the malignant cells, and they may become tumors by themselves. But due to that reimplantation, in later time they may there are high chances of recurrence. Like the carcinoma, if a breast tumor is excised nicely and the chemotherapy radiation is given, it doesn't reimplant. Once you have taken away the tumor, it doesn't seed the wound. Local recurrence come only. That's why you see a lot of wide margin excisions and radical excisions, modified radical excisions in the breast surgery. Now, how they look like? They have pain, the tenderness, there's a mass. It's generally firmly attached to the bone below. There may be pathological fractures, skin may be warm, varicose. There may be veins over it, which may be dilated, which is a bad sign. And generally, it occurs in the malignant tumor. Now, if you have a look at the tumors, the X-rays here, see the X-rays on the left of the screen, the upper femur. Look at the mid part of the shaft of femur. It doesn't seem healthy. Look at the upper part. It's all white and gray and very beautifully demarcated. But if you look at the lower part, seems like it has become weak. The demarcation between cortical and cancellous bone or medulla or cortical areas has decreased. It's not like well marked demarcated cancellous area in the trochanter hold on, please. Okay, actually, I had to seek some advice from somebody. Okay, you see that is moth. Now let's come to the middle one. Here you see the bone is beautifully and it's healthy. It hasn't been invaded. There's nothing happening in the bone. There's a big soft tissue swelling around it. So the cortex is not reacting. Look at the left wall again. The cortex is reacting. The bone is reacting. The tumor is eating, and the margins are not very well defined. There is a small area of bone reaction on the surface. This is called a periosteal reaction. In the middle, the bone hasn't got anything to do with it. Probably the tumor is lying somewhere in the soft tissues, hasn't reached the bone. On the right side, this is a distal radius fracture, a distal radius tumor is involving the metaphysis, the epiphyseal area, and going up to metaphyseal diaphyseal area. It's eating away the bone. And that bone has expanded, which means there is a slow growth process and the bone is expanding with it. However, the eating capacity of the tumor is so rapid that the bone has not been able to mount a reactive bone formation around it. This is a giant cell tumor. Don't kill yourself if you don't know and don't understand and don't master this, but you just develop an understanding. This is a CT scan of the head of humerus. You see a black area in the head of the humerus, which shows the bone is being eaten away. However, the margins are relatively clear with whitish line around it. That means it's a slow growing tumor and probably the bone has time to react and it is trying to conserve it. Now, there is one investigation that is called a bone scan. A bone scan is a scintigraphic investigation. It tells about the internal activity of the bone. In X-rays is still to date the best investigation to diagnose a tumor, but an MRI, a bone scan, other biochemical investigations, CT scans, they give us very important information as to the extent of the bone, of the invasion. If you see the picture on the left, this is a bone scan of the whole body. We have selected the lower limb, left tibia, upper tibia is showing high uptake. This uptake is increased. That means there is some activity, increased activity here. If you see the middle picture, the upper part shows a humerus, proximal humeral increased activity, probably it's a tumor. Wherever there is increased activity, depending on the age, the sternum, the ribs, the property, and the time of the scan, this area has become dark. From there, we read, is the tumor active in this area or no? In the right side picture, this is a picture of the right side. It shows multiple areas of increased uptake in the lumbar spine, the dorsal spine, and the ribs. So probably it is a metastatic tumor. I will try to avoid a few slides which probably may not be good may not be needed today. I'm trying to give you an understanding that you should be able to attempt your questions. Now let me take you to a few slides. You see the medial cortex of the femur, it is thickened and there may be slight layers also. This is an osteoid osteoma. And you see here this small black area. It is a bone forming tumor, bone eating tumor, but the bone forming, it is so slow that the surrounding bone becomes thick, trying to preserve it. It's a very strong bone, doesn't fracture easily. An osteoid osteoma is generally painful. It just needs to be excised. Look at this picture, the tibia on the right side. You see there is moth-eaten appearance of the bone there is a small periosteal reaction on the surface of the bone. There are rays going away from the tumor. Probably it is an osteogenic sarcoma or osteosarcoma. Very rapid growing bone forming tumor, but it may not form bone. It may start eating away bone also. Many varieties are seen of osteosarcoma. And this is the proximal humerus of this young boy on the left side. This is also osteosarcoma. Generally, they are in the second decade. There is swelling around the tibia, distal femur, proximal humerus, where the rapid growing areas, and it is a metaphyseal tumor. You see this tibia, the picture shows the bone is full of whiteness, there is bone formation, there is a lot of reaction on the surface, it's a periosteal reaction, there is erosion on the surface on the fibular side. So this probably is an osteogenic sarcoma. And the small rays which may not be visible here are visible in the X-rays. That's called a sun ray appearance. Codman's triangle is this area where the periosteum has been lifted. See the arrow moving away from the healthy cortex. So this is the Codman's triangle. The treatment of this tumor is to excise it, work up, excise. Radiation is not the preferred treatment now. And chemotherapy, non-adjuvant chemotherapy. Amputation is a way to do it. And now what we do is we work them up very well with chemotherapy, with the MRIs and scans, and we know the exact extent of the tumor. We may even do an angiography. In these tumors, we may give them chemotherapy before surgery, then we either save the limb, try to maintain the function, and we may give chemotherapy afterwards, depending on the condition. These are the ways we do it. These are the cartilage making tumors. It's given in your book. Osteochondroma is generally a benign, hard, bony swelling occurring for a long time, noted around end of teenage or around in teenagers, around tibia and upper tibia and lower femur. It's capped by cartilage. You see this picture on the right side of the screen. This is an osteochondroma. The base is bone, and this whitish tissue is probably cartilage. You see this picture, the AP view of the left knee. This is the bony stalk, and there's a cap which is not visible in X-rays of cartilage. Enchondroma is a cartilage-forming tumor inside the bone, seen in the hands generally. This is a chondrosarcoma of the scapula. This is a benign tumor. This is a malignant tumor of the foot bone. Now, multiple myelomas, lymphomas, leukemias also present. This is a multiple myeloma. You see salt pepper appearance of the skull and punched out lesions in the whole skeleton. Now it can present as a bone cyst, where the cyst is lying inside the bone, and like you all understand from your pathology and general surgical knowledge, that cysts are filled with fluids. It may be blood or it may be pale fluid. Some bone cysts are also seen. Giant cell tumors, fibrous, we have already talked about them. Now there are tumor-like lesions around the metaphyses mostly. Sometimes they come with pathological fractures, like fibrous cortical defects. You see this is a fracture at the site of a simple bone cyst at the metaphysio-diaphyseal junction. An aneurysmal bone cyst is a bigger than generally the simple bone cyst. It extends up to the subchondral area. It is metaphyseal, it is eccentric, there is a fallen piece of small bone at the base called a fallen leaf sign. It is multiloculated, it's filled with bloody fluid. A giant cell tumor is a bone-eating tumor mostly seen in the adults, and it invades up to the subchondral area and eats away the bone. It's a fleshy tumor. It occurs in the third and fourth decade of life, around knee, sacrum, distal radius, proximal humerus. This is a giant cell tumor, eccentric, lying on the side of the bone, eating away up to the cartilage in the inside the joint, which has a relatively wider, clear margin. It is not invading the bone. The bone has time to mount a sclerotic margin around it. It is generally curetaged. The lesion is emptied, filled with bone graft or cement. Ewing sarcoma is a very, very rapid growing tumor of the young patients in their first decade or second decade. This involves the diaphysis. See the X-ray on the left side. See the multi-layering of the cartilage of the periosteum over it. This is called an onion. Onion. It is. We may need to remove the whole joint as well, but depends on the involvement. And the primitive marrow cells, there's local pain, local swelling, low fever, leukocyte increased ESR. It metastasizes to the lungs early. The prognosis is not good. Radiation therapy, not recommended though, but may have to be given. And chemotherapy is drug of choice, and it started working very well now. Many patients benefit from the multi-drug regimens. You see the Ewing sarcoma of the fibula on the left side. Same again, periosteal reaction. This is a section through the Ewing sarcoma of the tibia. And the right side shows these cells, the histology. Similar picture. Same again, the giant cell tumor. Common sites other than limbs are the common sites are spine, proximal femur, proximal humerus. These are just to mention. Now, what is important is you must understand that, please remember, there is generally a question asked in the examination, how would you stage a bone tumor, malignant bone tumor? The answer is by Enneking classification. By Enneking classification. Enneking bases the classification on the behavior of the tumor. Is it high grade? Has it invaded the neighboring compartments or no? For all practical purposes, Enneking considered the retention of the tumor inside the primary bone as intralesional, intracompartmental. Once it erodes the cortex and starts eating away into the muscle compartment around, it becomes extra compartmental. The prognosis is different for both. If it is intracompartmental, then generally the prognosis is much better. But if it is an extracompartmental tumor, the prognosis is not good. For staging a tumor, we must make an X-rays, alkaline phosphatase levels, vitamin D levels, ESR, CBC to rule out infections. X-rays of the chest to see metastasis, X-rays of the related area in two planes, CT scan to see the extent of the bone destruction, and MRI to see the extent of the soft tissue. These are staged as per staging, and as per staging, the treating parameters are then decided. Staging dictates, and it's very important to scan the lungs to see metastasis. Ultrasound abdomen can be done to see the invasion of the liver, etc. They can be low-grade intracompartmental 1A, extra-compartmental low-grade 1B, high-grade intracompartmental, extracompartmental, any grade with metastasis grade 3. This is the way we generally go by. We take history, make bone assays, X-rays, chest X-ray, then we do a bone scan. Ultrasound. Bone scan helps us to tell the intra-osseous extent of the tumor and the metastasis or scans. These are the bone-forming tumors. Please write it down. Breast, prostate, lung, renal, thyroid. Breast, prostate, lung, renal, thyroid. There are the bone-forming tumors. Apart from this, the prostate can secondaries in males and some breast secondaries in females. They are also make newborn. Until you have a high degree of suspicion, it is very easy to miss the bone tumor. If you find a bone tumor, refer to the tumor center. Make non-invasive investigations. Don't make a biopsy, because to make a biopsy, we must stage the tumor, number one. Number two, the rule is biopsy to be done by the patient, the doctor who is going to operate those patients definitely. So, multidisciplinary approaches needed, chemotherapy, prostatists, everything. This picture is interesting. You see a litiglian in the proximal femur. The margins are not very well defined. It's not eating away like Ewing sarcoma, but there is no bone reaction, most likely metastatic tumor. And you see the pictures below in two planes. This is an angiography. The same area you see, there are so many microvascular network, so dense network, that it has almost eaten away the bone. If this is the morbidity depending on the age, site. If it is deep, the prognosis is not good. If the child is young, the prognosis is not good. Adolescents. Giant cell tumor, if it is repeatedly coming back, it may convert to malignant tumor. The blood calcium, generally no investigation is affected. Ewing sarcoma and multiple myeloma, they increase the ESR. The calcium may rise in multiple myeloma or METs. Alkaline phosphatase may increase in bone-forming tumors, and acid phosphatase in prostatic cancer. Imaging, I have already told you most of the findings and the use of MRI and bone scans. Now comes the diagnosis. Diagnosis lies with the gold standard is biopsy. But the biopsy should not be taken by every doctor. Please understand and convey it onwards. Don't make bone tumor biopsy because they are very bloody tumors. They need to be worked up well before biopsy, staged before biopsy. And the rule is when you cut through the skin, you basically open the road for the tumor to exfoliate into the surroundings and fungate outwards, breaking the skin barrier. So the doctor who's going to operate the bone tumor in the end of the day, at the end of the day, by reconstruction or amputation, the best person to do a biopsy is him. So send the patient to them. Don't try to make a biopsy yourself. The biopsy can be taken with the FNAC, with a true cut needle, or with a core biopsy needle like Bakshi, or through a hollow cutting cylinder. Or they can be taken open also. This will help us make our opinion about staging. But the treatment mainly depends on local resection, amputation, extremity remain retention operations, prosthesis after amputations, or combinations of any of them. The chemotherapy these days given is called neoadjuvant. Some chemotherapy is given, some operation is done, then new chemotherapy is given, and then the reviewing is done. Time kya hua? So we are left with 5 minutes, and I think let's stop here because I want you to ask your questions. There are a few slides, But instead of wasting our time on talking, I would suggest on reading slides, I would suggest that you please let's talk through chat. Let's answer your question because this is a revision lecture. You know most of this stuff very well. I'm open to questions. Let's spend these 5 minutes in answering your questions. And give me your feedback if you liked it or no, or what was. You don't need to give me a thumbs up. But you can tell me what went wrong, what went this with this talk, and how can we improve it next time. Please, I'm waiting for your comments. Let's chat right in the chat box, whatever you think. Is everybody there? You are sleeping like you do in the class. The students here, much better than the lecture room. Are there any questions, please? No. Actually, it's a review lecture. They've already taken a test over it. So they may be knowing more than I do. Okay. What was good about it, Abu Bakr? What did you like about this lecture? Anybody who disagrees and wants this lecture to be given in a different or in a better way, kindly don't be afraid. Okay, I told you, let's go over it again. Please try to understand. Out of the malignant tumors, you must understand the osteogenic sarcoma, the Ewing sarcoma. Out of the intermediate tumors, you must understand the giant cell tumor. Out of the benign, you must have some understanding of the osteoid osteoma and osteochondroma, the difference between the two. Osteochondroma, osteoid osteoma, giant cell tumor, osteogenic sarcoma, and Ewing. 5 of these and the metastasis. Please do develop a good understanding. Read the part for metastatic tumors because they are the commonest malignant tumors of the bones. They are operated. We just simply excise them, curate them, fill them with bone cement, and fix them with plates or intramedullary rods to treat them. Radiation may be given. Any other question, please? Worker, you are welcome. Any other question, please? I'm waiting for your questions. Shall we say goodbye? Stay home, stay safe, look after your families, and kindly tell them to stay home. Tell them to stay home. People in this country don't listen to the doctors. You will experience this very soon. Allah आप लोगों को जल्दी जल्दी डॉक्टर बनाए. ठीक है? Okay, I bid goodbye. Thank you very much.